Welcome back to another episode of the Four Downs Podcast, where we are going to review the Super Bowl and, as always, cover 4 trending NFL topics in 20 minutes or less. Unfortunately, I am joined by temporary Philadelphia Eagles fan Josh A.K. Kablumski, normally repping the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. However, he was with the Eagles this weekend. Yes. So, Josh, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to speak your piece, and then we're getting back to business.
Hey, man.
3, 2, 1, floor is yours.
I just wanted to say, man, I appreciate you, sticking up for your team, being here, knowing that I'm coming after you, and still willing to take the wrath that I'm about to set for you. Yes, I am a diehard Bucs fan, but I was pulling for the Eagles, as you guys know, just because my boy John was a Chiefs fan, and I had to put him in his place. I felt good about it, and I'm just here to be a part of this show and just wanting to hear the words come out of his mouth. Josh, you were right.
Josh, you were right.
Yes.
Now, as a part of our intro, let me just say to all you fans out there, remember, being gracious as a loser is as important as celebrating your victories.
Yes.
And when we've won 3 in 6 years, it's okay.
And
it's okay
to want to say something real quick. I got to tip the hat off to you because you handled it with class. You were speaking throughout the whole game. You were not, trash talking anybody. You just took it like a good champ that you are, back-to-back champ, just not this year. And I respect the hell out of you for that. So good job.
Yeah, it was rough. I will say, sitting down, there was a different feeling this year. When I sat down to turn the game on, there was something in me that said, this is not going to go well.
Right.
Last year, I knew we were going to kick the shit out of the 49ers. Didn't kick the shit out of them, but I had that feeling. The year before, I knew we were going to beat the Eagles. I had no doubt in my mind. And this year, I had said on the podcast, last episode, I was worried that we were going to throw all of our defensive prowess into stopping Saquon Barkley, and we did.
Yes.
Saquon Barkley, 60-something yards?
If that, yeah.
Shut him down. We really did shut him down, but Jalen Hurts just diced the shit out of us.
Man.
And I said that. And as I was sitting down, I said, that's what's going to happen, isn't it? Like, that is how this is going to go. And that's how it went. So, you win some, you lose some. But that doesn't mean we don't sit down, chat football.
Exactly.
So without further ado, let's head into our first topic.
Let's do it.
Our first topic today is going to be looking back at the game that resulted in the Eagles dominating the Chiefs. Don't even want to say the score. It's too embarrassing for me. Should have been like 56-6 had the Eagles continued to play at full strength the entire game.
Right.
I've got my notes here that I stopped at halftime because that is when I took my happy ass home and went to bed. Call me a bad fan. That's fine with me. Call me a bad fan, but I was done. So my first thought as I was watching the game immediately, Chiefs O-line couldn't stop the Eagles. They know that if you can get pressure with a 4-man front, Patrick Mahomes is done because that allows you to drop all your linebackers back to cover the slants, allows you to put a safety over the top, allows your cornerbacks help all over the field. It didn't look good. Secondly, the Eagles offense came out aggressive. Even when Barkley was lacking space, they were able to find open receivers everywhere, which I believe was in part to soft coverage from the Chiefs secondary, giving a lot of space on the line, trying to take away Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown over the top. Also, I'm not one to sit and dissect a defense when I'm watching my own team. I don't care if they're playing a 4-2 zone flat, whatever. I don't care if they're playing a man-to-man. I'm just watching football. I did notice, though, way too much soft zone defense. And when they were able to find the soft spots in the zone every single time on 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, that spelled disaster for the Chiefs defense because we are better when we're playing man-to-man and putting in unique blitz packages, which we didn't even try until late in the second quarter. I'm not blaming Spagnuolo at all. I think the plan he put together was what we needed to do. It was not executed properly. My blame for this game is solely on Patrick Mahomes and Matt Nagy, best buds. I know Patrick Mahomes loves Matt Nagy, but there was talk 2 years ago of letting Matt Nagy go, even with the Super Bowl win. And it is way overdue.
Way overdue.
Because the offense, the way it looked is poorly coached. There was a poor game plan put in place. And I mean, I guess I have to in part blame Andy Reid as well. 19 fucking yards in the first quarter. 19 yards. Patrick Mahomes had more passing yards to the Eagles defense, particularly Cooper DeJean alone, than he had in the entire first half by about 10 or 12.
You can't win.
I mean,
you can't win like that.
What can we do?
Right.
The only bright spots I saw, right at the beginning of the second quarter, we were able to get Nick Bolton to Hurts through interception. When we brought Nick Bolton from right through the line, running right behind Chris Jones, which I said on our last episode, if we were able to get Nick Bolton involved in pass rush, good things would happen. But we tried it, good things happened, turned around, got the 3 and out, gave the ball right back to the Eagles. So even when the defense did step up, the offense couldn't do anything for us. So that's the end of my rant. I would like you to talk more about what the Eagles did well, because I talked about a lot of what the Chiefs did poorly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. First of all, 40-22. If you forgot the score, I just wanted to remind everybody. I know you didn't want to say it earlier. I'll say it for you. 40-22. But real quick, man, Kelsey, he had 0 catches first half. That was huge. I felt like the defense bracketed him very well. He looked very slow off the line. And we'll talk about, future Chiefs in the next segment, but this didn't look like the Kelsey of old, right? I don't know if that was age. I don't know if that was just the defensive scheme. Just getting off the line, he looked every bit of, whatever age he is, 38, 30, I don't know.
34, 35, 35.
He looked old is what I'm trying to get at. So that was my first point as far as the Chiefs. Eagles, I don't think they blitzed at all until the second half.
They didn't.
You know what I mean? So that was a huge takeaway of the game, in my opinion. The defensive line just completely, you used the word correctly, dominated. And what I mean by dominated was not only was the interior defensive line putting pressure and just blowing up your interior offensive line, but the edge was blowing up all the pulling guards, everything. Pacheco, and Kareem Hunt, it looked like every time they got the ball, either they were getting hit by an Eagles player or they were getting hit by their own offensive lineman because a defensive player was blowing them up. So I think that was a huge factor in the game. Man, defense wins championships at the end of the day, right? The Eagles played a really good game. They came out with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and it showed. In the last episode, we talked about the big plays, right? I felt like that big play down the line, I believe it was in the first quarter to A.J. Brown. I think that kind of sparked that whole big play mentality that they were trying to build. And mind you, Jalen Hurts likes the sidelines, which I was kind of shocked that Spagnuolo didn't pay attention to that, because that's where the big plays occur. And with the interception that Jalen Hurts threw, you can see that he was trying to throw it towards the sideline, but obviously with the pressure from Nick Bolton, had a different result. But I thought that the Eagles came out, man, not wanting to get into the whole story book, fairy tale, what they were trying to do. They just came out and did what they were been doing these past couple of weeks, right? And I mentioned that before in the podcast as well. They don't got to do nothing different. They don't got to do nothing more, nothing less. Just keep on doing what they're doing. And it showed, and the result is, a Super Bowl championship.
Yeah. So I got nothing else to say. We went a little over our time, but
sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. It's a Super Bowl review. We're allowed to. We're going to talk about a little bit more about all of that, because we're going to cover Chiefs and Eagles next.
Right.
So let's move on to our second topic, which will be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. Our second topic today is the future of the Kansas City Chiefs, a team that has been building a dynasty since 2019, stopped in embarrassing fashion. This game was worse than the Bucs loss, and I don't think anybody's going to argue that.
No.
This was rough. Are the Chiefs still a dynasty? Yes, I fully believe we are. Some of the points that I've seen made, the offensive line is aging. Guys like Joe Thuney. You have Trey Smith going to be a free agent, is probably going to get a massive deal somewhere. Our offensive line is going to continue to be anchored by Creed Humphrey, Wanya Morris, Kingsley Suamatia, guys that we drafted who were supposed to be the next generation alongside Creed Humphrey, didn't pan out. So I think that's our primary focal point as we go into this offseason. Like we did after we lost to the Bucks, we completely restructured our offensive line and ran off 2 in a row. Travis Kelce, aging. You have guys like Justin Reed that are up for free agency. We have to address a few spots on defense. But the core is there. You've got Mahomes, obviously, always going to be the core. Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, guys like Trent McDuffie are still there. Xavier Worthy. I fully believe we're going to bring back Hollywood Brown. I think we give Isaiah Pacheco another year coming off of that fracture in his leg. I don't think he ever fully recovered mentally from that. The way he runs, you could see he was a little more cautious. I think an extra offseason is going to help with that. I'm excited to see where we go with Noah Gray. My biggest concern, like I stated earlier, we have to fire Matt Nagy. We need to bring in a younger offensive coordinator who can get us back to those explosive plays, which we've sort of taken a step back from in recent years. I mean, the Tyreek Hill years where everything we did, 50-yard touchdowns, trick plays that people hadn't seen before, Mahomes doing things on the scramble that people hadn't seen before, that freedom he had, I feel like he's been reined in a little bit. And that's not his play style. So I think we need to open this offense up next year by bringing in someone like, not Cliff Kingsbury, but someone of that mold out of the college ranks that can utilize Mahomes' talents the way that Eric Bieniemy did in 2019, 2020, 21. Because losing him was the turning point. Even though we won 2 Super Bowls without him, the offense doesn't look the same, and we became a defense-first team behind Steve Spagnuolo, who is a genius. And he's going to be a genius for years to come. So that's just a few thoughts. And, you know, obviously being a Chiefs fan watching this game, there's been a lot of things. Mahomes needs to stop doing so many fucking commercials and focus on his football. That's something I've thought about. Is it time for Kelce to hang it up and let Noah Gray become the focal point at tight end? I don't know. And I think maybe I need another week or two to just mourn this loss, and start thinking a little more logically and not think about trade Patrick Mahomes away because I'm mad at him. So
no, don't do that.
Yeah, I know.
No, but
so what do you got, man? What do you got?
Yeah, no, honestly, you're not too far off. Honestly, I gotta get rid of Nagy. That's number one. That's been overdue for a while now. Taylor, I think it's Jawan Taylor, your left tackle.
He sucks.
Gotta get rid of him. Sorry. He's not only does he hold on almost every play, he just gets beat up and blown off the ball. He has to go, right? Spags, obviously.
Fat fucking contract, by the way. We got another year of Jawan Taylor.
Ouch.
Fat contract.
Ouch.
Enormous.
Well, then we need to, excuse me, you guys need to figure that one out. Spags needs to stay right there where he's at. Obviously, we're not touching Spags. He's one of the GOATs on the defensive side of the ball. Question was, the dynasty is still there. People got to remember, back in the New England days when they were such a dynasty, they lost 2 Super Bowls to Eli, right? So let's not take away what the Chiefs have done, what the Chiefs have been doing, right? This is still going through Kansas City, whether we like it or not. It's still going to be going through Kansas City. Now, is the window closing? In my opinion, yes. And the reason why I say that is because the teams are starting to catch up and figure out, what they need to do and their weaknesses going against the Chiefs. But they're still a dynasty. They're still doing their thing. They're still going to be in the playoffs for years to come. Kelce. We talk about Kelce a lot. I think we give him an off year. I think we say, hey, this wasn't your best year. You come back if you want to come back, and, we'll see what we can do from that. But I don't think that we cut him out too early. And the reason why I say that is because he's still such a big focal point, not just a part of the game plan, but in that locker room, right? He even mentioned it that he took a lot of the blame because of his leadership wasn't there during the game. And that speaks volumes for a leader to admit that and to take the blame, knowing that you did not do shit and still taking the blame for it. that speaks volumes for him. So I think we need to pump the brakes on, is the dynasty over? Yes, this was an embarrassing loss for you guys, but the Chiefs are still the Chiefs, guys. They're going to come back with Rashid Rice. Like you said, they're probably going to sign Hollywood Brown again. We need to pump the brakes. Are they going to be at the elite level, top of the mountain? Maybe they might have taken a couple steps back, but they're still the Chiefs, guys.
And on your note about the Patriots, they went 103-04, 14-16-18.
Right.
They took 10 years off, but they were in the hunt every year. Of those 10 years.
Right.
So, I mean, we've got Mahomes for another 8-9 good years, I believe. We're going to win 2 more. So, with that being said, let's move on to our Eagles portion of this segment, which is going to hurt me even worse than talking about the Chiefs' potential window close. Our third segment today, of course, is discussing the Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles. And after talking about a potential closing of the Chiefs window, how wide open is the Eagles window? Watching this team, I think Jalen Hurts took the step into superstardom with this game. Is he the big play, out of this world type of QB that Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Mahomes are? Absolutely not. Is he mobile enough to always have that option to make plays like Lamar Jackson can? Yes. Is his arm strong enough to make plays like Mahomes can? Maybe not. But he does both things well enough that I think he can be the centerpiece of a Super Bowl winning team for years to come. What was more impressive than anything else was him showing the ability to take a game over when it's needed, when Saquon Barkley was taken out of the game effectively.
Right.
And he made some big throws where I said, I didn't know he could do that. There was a play to Devonta Smith down the side he made. It was perfect.
Yeah.
He put a ball into a window about this big
to
A.J. Brown, 40 yards down the field or so. I didn't know he could do that. I think he opened a lot of people's eyes. He's a true dual threat quarterback, and he doesn't rely too much on one or the other. Like the critique of guys like Robert Griffin III coming up. He was a running quarterback. Guys like Derek Carr, who can only stand in the pocket and deliver the ball. Carson Palmer is a guy that comes to mind, an elite quarterback who was about as mobile as a refrigerator. So I don't know. I was really, really, really impressed with Hurts' game.
Yeah.
Should he have won the Super Bowl MVP? I would have said Cooper DeJean. Just for some of the plays he made on defense, the pick six. That pick six was the dagger. The game was 100%. Over after that.
Yes.
I started texting my Eagles friends, good game. Hey, congratulations. As soon as he crossed the plane of the end zone.
Yeah.
But, I want to hear from you a little bit because I'm sick of talking about the Eagles. So take it away for us.
Yeah, no, so that window is wide open, like you mentioned. The Eagles are ready. They're built up. Howie Roseman has that thing kicking on all cylinders. He has built a good foundation, good nucleus of players that are good in the locker room as well, right? So let's point that out. Number 2, talking about Jalen Hurts. He's not an elite quarterback, right? He is not up there with the Mahomes, the Lamar Jacksons, the Josh Allens of the world. But let's give this man his flowers. When the light is shining the brightest and when the moment is the biggest, that man steps up to the plate. And not only does he deliver, he delivers with a home run, grand slam, whatever metaphor you want to say, that's the biggest part of sports, right? He delivers in a big time way, big time fashion. And a little tidbit that I want to throw out there for our fans and viewers. You got to give this man his flowers on another level. The guy has 10 offensive coordinators, 10 different offensive coordinators, consecutive years going back to his college days. So he has not had a consecutive offensive coordinator who has been calling plays for him in 2 consecutive years since going back into the Alabama days. Something to think about. So yes, when people talk about him not being the best or elite or stuff like that, we got to understand, guys, he got a new offensive coordinator calling plays every year. And not to mention, year 11 is going to come where they're going to have another offensive coordinator. So that's another thing that they got to bring take a good look at when hiring this. Is that going to fit his system, or is it somebody that's been with him before that can come in here and kind of like make him have some familiarity with the play calling and the scoring book? So that's something that we have to look for as well. The Eagles window as a team is there, especially with the core guys of Saquon, AJ Brown, that at least are there for at least 2 to 3 more years, right?
Devonta Smith on his rookie deal, and Saquon Barkley signed an extension.
Right. So you know what I mean? So their big nucleus, their foundation is going to be there. What I'm interested to see is their holes that they're going to fill on the defensive side of the ball. We have the Philly Dogs, the Georgia Bulldogs that are part of the Philadelphia Eagles now. Those guys set it and forget it, right? But what are we going to do in the back end? I know we have some DBs that are going to be gone. Big Game Slade might be out of there. So what are they going to do? How are they going to attack the draft, free agency? That's up in the air. Now, with those moves in the offseason, that is either going to propel them into that talk of repeating or just getting into the playoffs, or just, hey, there's going to be an average team that's going to skate by, probably make the playoffs because they're not in a good division. But that's something that we'll talk about later. But yes, their window is wide open. Yes, they can come back. I don't think that they will be back in the Super Bowl next year, but they will be back.
Who's going to stop them? Who in the NFC can take them? The Commanders? I think the Lions window was this year.
Yeah, the Lions window was this year.
Who takes Eagles out?
I mean, we got to talk about the Packers. We got the Packers in that mix. They're a young nucleus over there, young team, and once they figure it out, they're going to be a hot team to deal with. So yeah, you could throw them in there, but
the Rams,
if they re-sign Stafford, which we'll talk about in the next segment, but I mean, losing Cooper Kupp is huge over there. But like I said, we'll talk about that next segment. Eagles are there. Eagles are the front runners. Their key pieces that they add in this offseason will solidify them in that top spot. If not, they'll drop down into that jumble of teams that could make it.
Agreed. So I think we cover everything there. Let's move on. I am excited for our fourth topic so we can stop talking about this game. So without further ado, let's move ahead. Yeah. Our last topic today, thankfully moving away from the Super Bowl, is just one thing to watch in the offseason. I'm going to go, and then Josh, I'll hand over to you.
Yeah.
Just something to watch. So as a Chiefs fan, obviously my biggest fear is the Bengals being good again.
Yeah.
Because I do not fear the Bills. I do not fear the Ravens. We got their number. Joe Burrow has our number.
Yes.
So looking at their roster, T. Higgins coming up for free agency, Jamar Chase nearing the end of his rookie deal, Trey Hendrickson nearing the end of his deal. What are the Bengals going to do this offseason? Do they say, hey, we've got Burrow long-term. Let's take a step back. Let Hendrickson walk. Let Higgins walk. Continue to build around the Chase Browns, Burrows, and Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow on offense, and then focus on defense. Comparatively, they could try to go hit a home run or two in the draft, bring back Hendrickson and Higgins, and just try to add to fill the holes. Clearly, this team hasn't been able to get over the hump with what they've got. I expect them to be fairly active in the offseason and give it one more shot. And if that doesn't work, break it down. But we're going to know a lot about what the Bengals are going to do here very soon. I expect them to either get a deal with Higgins and Hendrickson done or not.
Yeah.
And if they don't, then we know that the Bengals are going to maybe let the Bills and Ravens and Chiefs continue to fight for that top spot as they build behind them to make a run in maybe 27 or 28. I'll flip it over to you.
Real quick.
I think I know where you're going. I do want to touch a little bit on the Darnold Stafford stuff as well, but I'll let you say your piece.
Yeah. We'll continue that. I just want to continue what you were saying. Bengals they don't pay their players. They are going to pay Chase probably because that's their shining object and that's going to be their focal point. I don't mean shining object but you know what I mean. Higgins is gone. Henderson is gone. They're going to focus on the draft. And like you said, 28, 29, that's when they're going to be coming back to Arrowhead to try to beat you guys again. So I'm not too worried about them. But real quick, before we start talking about the quarterback situations, real quick about my Bucks. Can we get a defensive end? Can we get one of the defensive ends? I mean, Myles Garrett asked for a trade, right? Max Crosby's out there,
Yes.
does not want to be part of a rebuild situation. He's gone on record to say
Micah
that.
Parsons.
And then Micah Parsons. You know what I mean? So can we make a push as a Bucs fan? I'm just being a little bit biased here, speaking about my team. Can we make a push for that? That's one thing that I'm looking for. Seeing what Jason Licht is going to do in the offseason. Jason Licht does not like to give up draft capital. He's really, really adamant about getting draft picks coming in and developing, which has worked. But man, we have generational talent out there right now. And we've seen the Rams, what was it, 2-3 years ago, said, fuck them picks, and they won the Super Bowl. And I'm kind of on that train. Jason, if you're hearing this, which if you are, that's awesome. Fuck those picks. Let's get after Myles Garrett. Let's get after Max Crosby or Micah Parsons. Let's get one of those, solidify that defensive line. We've seen what a defensive line can do. It was on display this past Sunday. Defense wins championships. Tampa Bay is known for their defense. Let's bring that mentality back. Go on with the quarterbacks.
So the big one right now is Stafford. Stafford's 37. He has 1 year left on his deal. However, he has no guaranteed money left. So they could cut ties with Stafford and try to look to somebody younger with guys like Kyron Williams and Puka Nacua there ready to win right now.
Right.
I believe in Sam Darnold as long as he has a good defense. I don't know if I would put all my eggs in that basket, but I would heavily consider bringing Sam Darnold in. You're not going with Aaron Rodgers. You're not going old. Scale back, go a little younger. I think Aaron Rodgers is done. Who do you see going to Las Vegas? Raiders. That's my interesting one.
Russell.
Who do you see taking that job?
Russell Wilson. Pete Carroll is the head coach in Las Vegas, correct? And Russell Wilson played for who in Seattle?
What's his boy?
Just throwing that out there. And exactly. And not only that, Pittsburgh is going to go back to Justin Fields, I think. Russell Wilson is the odd man out in that situation. Real quick, though. So, yes, that's where he's going, to Las Vegas. That's my take. Stafford, the only way that I would see him moving is if it's a combo deal going to the Giants. We all know that his brother-in-law is now the offensive coordinator for the Giants now, which is awesome, great. But if you put 2 and 2 together, they cut ties with Cooper Kupp, the Los Angeles Rams, cut ties with Cooper Kupp. So this could be a package deal to bring both of those guys to New York. And now we're talking about a whole different dynamic up there in New York. Real quick about Sam Darnold, and then I'll stop. Sam Darnold needs to stay in Minnesota. And the reason why I say that is because, listen, it's good to have depth at that position, right? The most important position in football is debatable quarterback, but quarterback, right? If you can have depth and let J.J. McCarthy just sit back there, take notes, figure it out, don't rush him into the fire yet, or vice versa, whatever it may be. But having depth at the quarterback position is huge. We've seen it when the Philadelphia Eagles won their Super Bowl a few years back. What happened to Carson Wentz? A backup came in named Nick Foles, ended up being the Super Bowl MVP. So you can never have too much depth at that position. So it needs to be not a franchise tag and not pay him extraordinary amounts of money. I think it's going to be like a dual, both sides win type situation for Minnesota and for Sam Darnold, and he's going to stay put there.
Yeah, J.J. McCarthy, real quick, last thing we'll say. We talked about this earlier in the year, how he hasn't really been able to take any reps because of his injury. So is he a rookie? Like you were saying with the Sam Darnold, bring him back for one more year. Bring Sam Darnold back, let J.J. McCarthy work under him, see what you got, and then move on. And if Sam Darnold has another good year, all that is more incentive for other teams to pay the man. And he still is at an age where he could get a really strong 5-year deal somewhere and be the franchise quarterback somewhere else. Right. So that's where I'm at on the QB situation. We're going to see it unfold here within the next few weeks. Thankfully, the NFL free agency just happens. I mean, shit is over by like 2 weeks after it begins. So we're going to know. We're going to know where everybody is by mid-March. Sure. But with that being said, We are way out of time. We went over on a few topics here, but it's a Super Bowl, last episode of the year. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in all season. Keep an eye out because the Cycle Baseball podcast, same format, same two dudes. We're going to be talking baseball all season. So tune in for that.
Yes.
Josh, I'll let you send us out.
Yeah, man. Honestly, man, I was going to come up a little bit stronger on you. I was hoping Alex was going to be here so I can have a 2-for-1 special and just go off on both of you guys. But the way you, like I said, and I mentioned before, the way you handled yourself and your fandom is just respectable, and I can't be too harsh on you. I gotta give you some, gotta go some jabs in there once in a while, but I decided to, bring down the intensity against you. So, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you having me. It's been an awesome year. Looking forward to the cycle. Y'all stay tuned for that. If you guys know, we are baseball buffs as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Stoked. Go Rays. Forget about the Royals, and looking forward to it.
Bobby Witt Jr., baby. Bobby Witt Jr. season.
Yes.
We'll see you guys. Thank you.
Peace.
We're out.
Kablinsky.